Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. Big win for Arizona State University, beating Texas State on a short week, 31-28. Sam Leavitt, he got to throw the ball a little more than usual than the past two games, I should say, Damon. We saw the Scatterboo game with over 30 carries on Saturday of last week. This week, Sam Leavitt let it fly a little bit.
Yeah, I think coming into the game, we knew that Sam had to be better through the air than he was at the very least against Mississippi State. And we had been harping on the deep throwing too. Finally connects on one, the Jordan Tyson touchdown in the first half. And really just from there, I mean, Sam had some issues with poise in the pocket and things like that. But really, I think his best game as a college player. Yeah,
we'll get to the X's and O's of his performance in a little bit. But first, ASU went down 21-7 in that first half. They came back and tied it before halftime. It was just such an interesting, we kept saying this is going to be the turning point of the game while we were watching the game. But it really was an interesting game of just back and forth. Texas State really was who we thought they are. I know it's hard to, say that and not get rolled of eyes here in Arizona. But yes, Texas State is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the hype about them being a potential playoff team as the group of four or the group of five slot, I mean, it's legit. This might take them out of it just because one loss can do that to you as a group of five team. But, I mean, they looked so good in really every area of the game for much of the game. And Jordan McLeod, I think, really impressed me. He was a lot better than I was expecting, especially in the first half. Texas State is really something, and ASU's ability to respond to that adversity. Kenny has talked about responding to things. You didn't get any adversity in the first game. You get some in the second game. This one was just a full game of responses by both teams, and I think that Kenny's probably going to come away from it feeling pretty good about his group.
64 rushing yards in the first two games of the season ASU's defense gave up. They have 132 today, including 46 in the first quarter. Kind of settled down a little bit in that second half, and obviously McLeod's going to air the ball out a little more in the second half. And, man, he was good. Like you said, he was impressive. But, Texas State's defense really impressed me today, even though the game was 31-28 in terms of just the ability to rush to the ball, as we went over on our preview podcast. 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, made Leavitt uncomfortable a little bit in the pocket. But ASU was able to overcome some adversity in this game and really come out, and in the second half and play the game that they wanted to play in the second half.
Yeah, I think once they finally were able to establish some success with Cam Scatterboo, I think it just became a different game. Once the offensive line was able to hold up a little bit better and Sam started to feel a little more control within that pocket, even as it's collapsing, he's still making a lot of plays in this game. We could talk about his legs too. He's really good on the ground again. Maybe still needs to be a little more careful with his body, but overall, I mean, he was looking like Lamar Jackson a little bit for some of those plays.
2 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. You talked about the one to Tyson. Let's talk about some of the mishaps. Obviously, the pass to Marqueston Douglas was a little overthrown. Very good play call by Kenny Dillingham coming out of that timeout, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And ASU drew up that play to, they were a little backed up on that drive, but it was a good play call. Just sailed it a little over the head of Douglas, and it was intercepted. First interception of the season for Leavitt. He would want to have that one back, I'm sure, obviously.
Yeah, no question. He came into the game without any turnover-worthy throws, according to Pro Football Focus, which I think is just incredible for a redshirt freshman through 2 games, especially one against an SEC team. I know it's Mississippi State, but an SEC team nonetheless. And I think his ability to grow each game is really starting to stand out, and I think that you feel really good about him as the ASU quarterback going forward.
Yeah, and he threw the ball over 30 times today. Was it 30 exactly? I believe it was, yes, 30 exactly. 19 for 30, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 carries, 40 yards, that 1 touchdown. He had a long of 40 yards. Obviously, in college football, they take the rushing yards away for sacks, mm-hmm. So it's hard to kind of figure out how many yards in total he would have actually gotten. I can add that up at a later date. But to go back to that sequence of events, the interception, then that led to the targeting foul that was called on Ghost. I thought it was targeting.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a textbook target with the way that he lowered his crown and went into the offensive player. But, I mean, the refs didn't see it that way. ASU caught a break, and it led to points, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's really interesting because I told you that we talked about a bunch of turning points in this game. It was a little weird and back and forth where you're like, okay, this is where the momentum shifts. Mm-hmm. That was a point where the penalty wasn't called on Ghost. Then Texas State turns it over on downs, and then ASU is able to go down the field and score there. It was a big momentum shifter for ASU. Obviously, Texas State still came back and tied it up at 28. But listen, I think ASU was able to get through some adversity today. We hadn't seen it enough through the first 2 games of the season. Second half against Mississippi State was a little questionable in terms of letting Mississippi State back into the game, but Cam Scadaboo took over and they were able to take that one out. But in terms of adversity, this is good to see the team come out with a victory on the road by 3 points against a good Texas State team. It's very good to see. Listen, Ian Hershey, guy's got a leg.
Oh, yeah.
Guy's got a leg. He had the distance for the 52-yarder, just left. Looked like a bad hold by Canyon Floyd, but laces were a little bit to the side. I don't, but listen, they got something with this Hershey kid. Excited about that.
And Canyon Floyd's punting, too, throughout the game. I mean, his ability to flip the field in a way that ASU just wasn't able to do last year.
Does ASU have a punter?
ASU has a punter.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Damon Allred says the ASU has a punter.
Canyon Floyd's a real guy.
Sam was good on the ground. Scadaboo, obviously, he had the 2 touchdowns today, but it wasn't his best performance in terms of yards per carry. He got the ball 24 times again. Almost. Listen, this guy, Saturday.
It's just 60 touches over 2
5
weeks.
days ago.
Yeah, 60 plus touches. It's insane.
Well-deserved 10 days off until the next game for Cam Scadaboo.
And then a bye week after that, too.
Yes.
It's going to be great for him.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can get it going again on the ground in terms of his yards per carry. But he got 2 touchdowns today, and ASU needed it when ASU needed it most. At the end of the game, he got the first down to seal the game.
And set up those kneel downs, yep.
Correct, and 2 seconds left on the clock. Leavitt had to drop back a little bit to kneel that one down. But, hey, ASU's 3-0. 3-0 against FCS opponents. FBS opponents, excuse me. No FCS opponents is what I meant to say. ASU's 3-0 against FBS opponents. Sam Leavitt is getting better every game.
Yeah.
He's using his legs well. He made some good passes, good decisions today. I don't think there was a play where I was like, that was a bad choice from Sam Leavitt today. There was one play where he was trying to throw it away down the sideline and almost got picked off. He overthrew it a little bit.
The guy ran into the sideline, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only one where I was like, bad decision there. I think he was pretty, in terms of how he played today, pretty flawless in his decision making.
Yeah, I think there were some plays where it looked like maybe he was a second or two behind the correct pacing for the play, where a ball just should have come out a little bit faster. But overall, yeah, I think that he's just continuing to grow and not giving you a lot of reasons to be concerned.
Again, 3-0, all FBS teams, excuse me.
And
that's the first time since 2007 in the Dennis Erickson era where they played all FBS opponents and started 3-0. They started 3-0 in 2019 as well, and that's the last time that an ASU team has started 3-0.
Yeah, and then I also just wanted to shout out Xavier Alford as well for making the game-saving interception to stop that last Texas State drive. I mean, his abilities so far as really the heart and soul of this defense, as the vocal leader of the whole team. His ability to just play center field on that play and come down with the interception, read the ball better than the receiver did, I think that was so huge. And obviously, it was the turning point. We talked about all the turning points. It was the turning point in the game.
I'm going to give a game ball to Jordan Tyson.
Nice.
Dude had 6 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Almost half of Sam Leavitt's passing yards went to Jordan Tyson. Again, 246 yards for Sam Leavitt's passing, and 120 of those yards went to Jordan Tyson. That's my game ball.
And we know he's run blocking a lot too.
Yes.
He's great in that department. I think my game ball, if not to who it was going to, would have gone to Xavier, but I think in this case I got to go to Shamari Simmons because he toughed it out. He had an injury at one point that he played through. He had multiple tackles for loss, including a ridiculous hit stick early in the game that kind of set the tone for how the defense was going to play. And I think that he has been one of the better leaders as well for the team. Obviously, the leading tackler last year for the team.
7 tackles today, 2 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, incredible game for the safeties really as a whole, especially when you're counting all the plays that Ghost was getting involved in and his ability to avoid that targeting.
Keyshawn Elliott, another 12 tackles. Rouser, he stayed in the game. That's good because he led the team in tackles with 13, led the game actually in tackles, both teams with 13.
And it's good too because if that was a targeting, then he would have been out for the first half of the Tech game. So it's good that he was able to avoid that.
Texas Tech next week. We will have a preview podcast in the middle of the week for that one. Before we get out of here, we want to let you know that ASU volleyball, they're still undefeated right now. They're playing. They beat Wichita State in straight sets on Thursday, and then Friday, it's a big one. Make sure to watch that one. ASU is at number 5 Nebraska on Big Ten Network at 5. Hey, listen, we have talked about J.J. Van Niel and how much we are impressed by him. He's got this Sun Devil team up to number 14 in the country. If they beat Nebraska, who knows where they jump up to?
Ooh, tall task.
Make sure to tune into that one tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Big Ten Network. That's going to do it for this post-game edition of State of the Sun Devils. You can follow us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils. You can also find us. Almost every episode of this is on YouTube. You can find us at the Arizona Sports YouTube channel. Just search Arizona Sports on YouTube. You'll find us there. Damon, he's got a bunch of articles that he posts about this ASU football team, including ASU basketball as well. He covers everything you need to know about Arizona State athletics, and you can find all his articles on arizonasports.com and the Arizona Sports app. Anything else, Damon?
We have threads.
We do have threads, yes.
A special shout out to Jesse Morrison, who could not be on this episode.
Yes, of course.
And also a shout out to Mitch Vereldis, who had a great first week on AZ Sports at Night. And also he said that he is 100% in on this team being a bowl team.
You're letting him get takes off on this.
He told me I could quote him.
He left us. You're letting him get takes off on this show?
Absolutely. He will have a platform.
Unbelievable. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and watching. For Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We will talk to you next week.